Welcome to the story of the Prize Audi. So as you can see by this graphic that was just up, this was a car awarded to me from Regular Car Reviews. Story goes, I was watching YouTube like so many of you are right now and saw this car and I was like, oh, it's pretty neat. I liked the video. My wife, who never would say something like this, like, hey, you should do the raffle. So I did. And after winning and talking to the sweepstake company and getting things arranged, the car was shipped and delivered to me February 2022 from New Jersey. So this is a story about this car. So as you can see, it's running, driving, about to back off this trailer, and things started pretty good, but the adventure just begins. So immediately after getting it, I noticed some oddness with the alternator, and it was kind of weird. It seemed to be over voltage than under voltage, and it started to not work after a while. So as you'll see, the adventure gets even worse. So I was stranded. Decided to drive with the broken alternator and ended up at the side of the road, and my wife had to save me. So with that, the Audi got parked in the garage and the game plan had to be strategized. It's quite sad, so here's a dramatic door closing effect for you guys. So when the alternator incident occurred, at that point, I had already been speaking to some of the other members in the St. Louis greater Audi community, which many had suggested doing like a full service on the car since I didn't know its history, which involved the timing belts, water pumps, and general tune-up stuff. So with the alternator failing at this point, it became time to go to work. So, FCP Euro, Turner Motorsports, I started ordering parts, and typically this should have been an easy job to fix an alternator, and this is where I learned about the special peculiarities of the Audi S4 and B5 platform, which, as you'll see coming up, requires taking the entire front of the car apart. So after getting the parts, started going to work. Now, as a lot of you guys who work on your cars recognize, well, while we're in there, we should do this. Well, I got caught in doing that. So what should have been a day project turned into, I want to say, roughly 4 weeks. Now, part of that, I have my own personal health problems, which actually put me in the hospital for a little while. So went to the hospital with a car completely in pieces to come out to get back to work on it. And it was quite interesting getting that stuff done, but here we are, and here's some of the shots of the work in progress. So, might not look like much has happened since yesterday, but we have the, what do they call it, the Y-pipes now installed, upper intercooler hoses, new diverter valves. So we're just about ready to button this thing up and get out of service mode. So I, had to take a picture of myself getting it back together, but here we are putting it back together, getting out of service mode. After having it apart for so long, it was kind of awkward. And that's because I've never seen an Audi S4 before this, and I had no recollection of where things went. It was quite crazy. So of course, in typical DontBeKurt fashion, first test drive, I hit a pothole and got a flat tire. So off the tire rack we went, new tires. So quickly we noticed there was a vacuum leak, and it was weeks and weeks of searching and searching, and I'll show the final result when we finally found it. But visited lots of people, couldn't find it, and I'm totally embarrassed as to what it actually was. So when you're stuck with your Audi, where do you go? You go to the top BMW mechanic in the city of St. Louis, and they'll figure it out, even though they also might not have necessarily messed with an S4 before. So here I am at the Bimmers R Us curated facility with Greg, the owner, doing some smoke tests and trying to identify where the issue was. this point, smoke's coming out everywhere, so like a good mechanic, Greg decided to put it on the lift and just get a closer look at everything and inspect some of my work. So not filmed here is removing of the underbelly. Perhaps I should have filmed that part, but at that point I had dug in, tried to help him look to see where the smoke was coming from, because it just didn't make any sense at this point.
But that's your problem. That's your.
Everybody, I am a moron. Apparently this charge pipe down here wasn't even hooked up, or became disconnected, and my man Greg here saved me, so.
I like that.
So at this point, it's looking a little Christmas tree, but it runs for now. Then all of a sudden, it wouldn't start. And I took it to the dealership, and this happened. So I took my car to the dealership because it wouldn't start. They said they could never duplicate the problem, but look at this. Great. So basically, the car had the issue where the clutch switch had gone out. I knew what the problem was, but it was in such a crazy location. You had to be a contortionist to get to it. I figured taking it to the dealer here in St. Louis County, or not where we are right now, but where the dealership is, St. Louis County, that this would be quite an easy fix. And on top of that, the airbag recall was open for the car. Car was gone from approximately the beginning of June to right after July 4th, where I was told that they wouldn't be able to get the part, and it would probably be until July 29th before I get the car back. You know, so I didn't think that was cool. So again, going back to the BMW shop that I deal with here, talked to the owner Greg, who I'm close with, and said, hey, here's what's going on. He jumped to it and talked to his suppliers, and they got the part in less than a day. Legitimately, I think he ordered it end of the workday at 4 or 5 p.m. and it was in a shop by 8 a.m. the next day, and he installed it for me. Now, unfortunately, I did not think to record this as I've been trying to collect footage about this car, but it's done. The car runs, and now on to the next thing as we see in this saga of the Prize Audi. All right, and a sign of feeling like we're nearing completion after me disassembling a lot of this car, and finally buttoned the interior back up. So the kick panels are back in, dusted it. It should be good to go soon. And also the engine, covering it up. Last piece. Can't believe it. Now, I'll say again, the car worked fine until I took it apart. Learned a lot, still learning, but glad to be able to put this back on. Okay, so put it back together, and let's see, because you know, sometimes with the computer you put the case on and the computer doesn't work anymore. So all the pieces are back on, engine panels are on, interior panels are on. It should start, but hey, let's find out. Looks like a winner. All right, I'll take it. Today's the day. We will take the cheap Audi across the state and see how things go. So part of this trip to Kansas City was to visit an old friend who was an expert solderer and offered to help fix this pixelated screen we have on here. So here goes. Fixing the S4 dashboard with its badly pixelated screen. Take one. Well, made it to the Kansas City area, did a little bit of surgery. Now we're driving back. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. It's a nice car, it was well maintained. So road trips are it. The car is stable, I'm good to go. Oh joy. Now, this is actually a false alarm on this car. Something else I have to get fixed. But now that I'm in traffic and I keep jerking the car, stop and go, this keeps popping up. Well, I made it. 26.2 miles per gallon. I'm actually impressed. I think the car's only rated 18 to 25. I'll have to look that up, but No incidents, nothing crazy, and yes, we have a new working LCD screen so I can see the mileage. So that brings us basically to today. A car I never expected to have in the year 2022. I might say I like it. Actually, I like it a lot. It's become my daily driver. It's just fun to get into. It's a peppy little car. I haven't done much to it, and I've also not really owned many platform cars. And what I mean by that are cars that have a whole culture around them and what you can do. Now, I'm a little late on this one, so parts are getting harder to get for this S4, but I plan to do a lot of other things with it. Now, before I get to that though, as you can see, I have oil pressure switch to fix, sway bar bushings that are gone, and a lot of other small things. But overall, the car is solid, and thanks Regular Car Reviews for offering such a nice auction. And if you guys like this type of stuff, please like and subscribe. Catch you later.